main thing I gotta have chat on my phone because the way I'm having this set up, I can't do like individual window capture because my OBS is
Right.
weird. So I have to like have my entire screen sharing, so like just on the YouTube window. So it kind of sucks.
That's weird.
Yeah, my RAM on my computer is gonna cry, but
Well,
I checked. It said like 80% of it was being used.
yeah, Google Chrome just eats up your RAM
Right.
like nobody's business. And it's because there's like so many different layers to the browser for some reason.
Yeah.
And then with like Internet Explorer, it's just like, oh, it's one thing, so it makes it easier to upload Twitter videos.
And then I have a nice picture for the link. I will send to you after I have the link posted. It's eye-catching enough to get people. Yeah, I'll probably start once popping in. Oh yeah, I tagged you in the tweet and it has the image. Pretty amusing.
Oh, let's see what this is.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. It's very. Also, I gotta make sure I have. Okay, desktop audio's on, microphone's on. Uh, that's all good.
Plug my phone in real quick.
All right, sweet.
Cocoa Large, hell yeah.
I love Coke. So why is it like kind of warm in my room? I know in like
Ah, you heck.
I know in like minutes I'm probably gonna like put the hoodie back. Whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah, once like at least a few people hop in, I'll definitely like start it up. Everything's working. No, I don't want to just inspect element. Get out of here. Good lord.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
It,
It's actually not, it's Friday.
I was gonna say like not. Definitely not.
It is Friday, my dude.
Oh yeah, you know I did see that. All right. Notification. Didn't even retweet it. That's alright.
No, I didn't. Fuck off.
Yeah. Guess I'll tell
Oh my god, there are a whole bunch of stickers of Soldier 76 with the caption, I love my gay dad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's accurate now.
Oh, it's fairly accurate.
Blizzard trying to cover their asses by making their characters gay. A dab.
Uh-oh, we need people to care about Overwatch again.
Oh no, we need to distract people from our shitty practices both in-house and out-house.
For sure.
Let's just make our characters gay.
Yeah.
They won't care.
Right. Does it say I'm even streaming on Discord? Oh, it doesn't even say that. I guess I gotta... Let's see. I gotta figure out. Oh, there's literally just a little switch you can flip. Oh, there you go. Let me check my RAM. I may close out a couple of these tabs.
Yeah.
Maybe. %85%. I will leave it. As long as it's not 100, I can live. Now, while I'm waiting for people to join in, I'm gonna throw this up. Little warning about spoilers. So, no spoilers of story. No jokes about spoilers of story. Like, it's all fun to joke around, but like, when the game is out there and people don't know what's real and what's not, it's really like, you know, you don't want to see anything. Like, the thing I saw the other day very well could have been fake, but I don't know, and that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't consider completely classify gameplay as spoilers unless there's like big implications behind it, like the Aqua fight that Square just casually showed everyone at TGS.
Why did they do that?
Right, yeah. I mean, like, it seems like a lot of what Square has shown off, it seems like this time they may have shown a little too much. Like, I don't think they directly spoiled a lot of stuff, but you can definitely put a couple pieces together of stuff, which is a little unfortunate, but I feel like there's a lot that, like, we don't know fates of characters. It's not...
Well, okay, we know Donald is gonna die.
Okay.
The triplets are just going to take over Kingdom Hearts 4, and they're gonna murder everyone.
Right, yeah.
And turn on each other.
Right.
We've discussed this.
Yeah, that's true.
I really fucking hope that happens.
Right.
It won't ever happen, but I hope.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe Donald doesn't die. Maybe he just gets, like, I don't know.
Well, it's probably the Goofy situation where he just comes back like a few minutes later.
I mean, okay, so I this isn't like super heavy spoilers because, for one, major implications in the trailer, and also just what we've seen officially, it seems like, and this is partially a theory, Sora gets separated from his friends in the Keyblade Graveyard, and then Scala and Kylum, I mean, you could easily deduce that that's the final world. I mean, like, I don't think that's...
I mean, that's more than likely what it is.
I mean...
Unless they actually didn't reveal all the worlds and are holding back on us for some reason.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Square was true to their word in saying they were going to reveal every world before the game came out, and I can tell you right now, Scala and Kylum is the final world.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how heavily, like, what gameplay-wise is in Scala and Kylum, aside from, like, the final boss. It could easily be, like, just, like, final boss and cutscenes and stuff, but that much I'm not, like, super... I'm not super sure of that. And there's no footage of Scala and Kylum, which is good. But
I think Scala and Kylum is gonna be like the world that never was of this game.
I think a better comparison is probably the end of the world from Kingdom Hearts 1. Like, not super big. Like, World That Never was like a full world. While the end of the world in Kingdom Hearts...
It might be more so like segments of like worlds.
It's probably it was vague. They didn't say specifics, but from my understanding, Scala and Kylum isn't super, like, gameplay heavy. So if I had to guess, it's going to be leaning towards the end of the world. I don't want to say, like, literally, like, cutscenes and the final boss, but there's going to be more plot than game. I don't know to what level, but I don't know. I'm interested.
I get strong the world that never was vibes from it.
Oh, sure. So I'm hoping that if it really is just like cutscenes and stuff, that the inevitable final mixed release will add more gameplay.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more so just like it'll be just very more difficult variations and combinations of enemies.
I guess we'll see.
In a shorter space, sort of like how the castle of World Never Was kind of was.
Yeah. It more so it's like a straight shot to the end, but at the same time it does have stuff to it. Kingdom Hearts 1 really was a straight shot. Yeah, Scala and Kylum I genuinely don't know too much about. And in general,
no one does.
Yeah, well, okay, I mean, there's definitely info online of Scala and Kylum, but that's one of the things I've been trying to avoid.
No, not what I meant.
Okay, well, yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. But yeah, I don't know. The world list. I like the world list. I guess I could. Do I even have an image of it? I don't know. But it's like what is it? I guess I could read it out on my phone because I have an image of all the world.
Okay.
Because like, it's a good world list. It doesn't have Nightmare Before Christmas, which kind of sucks, but at the same time, they've gone by the theme of like adding stuff every time, and there wasn't really much to add, I suppose. No Traverse Town, or Radiant Garden, or Destiny Islands, and that's the thing that really caught me by surprise.
Yeah, there is no Radiant Garden, huh?
Yeah,
that's the
not even in the plot. Like, Destiny Islands isn't playable. It's just plot. And
that's there's not much to Destiny Islands anyway. Let's be real here.
I mean, yeah, but even something like 0.2, they put it in it.
Oh yeah. Oh. Okay, that's
well. Okay.
Topic.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the world list. This might be ordered, so like whatever. Olympus, Twilight Town, Toy Box, Kingdom of Corona, Monstropolis, Arendelle, Pirates of the Caribbean, San Francisco, which I know at the very least is the final Disney. 100 Acre Wood, probably introduced sooner, but that's just where it is on the list. Realm of Darkness, Keyblade Graveyard, and Skull Asylum. Yeah.
Which one is Realm of Darkness?
Oh, well, I thought you were home sooner than I was. Wait, what's up?
What world is Realm of Darkness? I know it's the Realm of Darkness, but like...
you know where most of 0.2 took place, and where the Aqua Fight is, and where Riku plays? That's the
the Aqua Fight. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's more than just that. Like, the final battle trailer shows the Riku gameplay.
Yeah, but that's just what I remember
immediately.
Yeah, and the Riku stuff.
You do actually play as Sora in the Realm of Darkness without the boss fight for a little bit. I don't know for how long, we haven't seen much. It seems like, at least all I've seen is on, like, the shoreline, or at least in that general area.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I don't know how intensive the Realm of Darkness is, but I guess we'll find out. Let me send you.
I don't think it's going to be too big, honestly. Just because, like, it seems to me that they're focusing specifically on that area of the Realm of Darkness.
Right.
So they're probably going to use it for specific story events, like the Aqua Fight, or when you fight with as Riku.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be relegated to just that, especially when we haven't seen much of it past that, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to get too much from Realm of Darkness. But we're going to get enough.
Yeah, no, there's going to be something. Sure.
Yeah. Enough for it to warrant being there, aside from what we've seen.
Like, absolutely. Like, I don't know. Whatever we get, I think it's going to be, like, pretty good, you know? I think the Riku section is probably going to be an individual chapter, like, midway through the game or so. Maybe earlier on in the game. I don't think it's going to be, like, Riku followed by Sora.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the first thing I can do... I'm not going to show the title screen or intro yet. I'd probably save that for... But I guess the first thing I'll play is the Pirates of the Caribbean, which you did see. Let me...
Yes.
Yeah, which... Here, let me switch this over on OB.
Let me... Is it the same link that you sent me before?
Yeah.
Because I can just pull that up. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Put it up on here. So yeah, what they've shown... Okay, so for the footage of Pirates, one of the most interesting things is the, what is it? I guess it's called air step here, but, flow chain, I guess it is, where he, like, shoots directly from, like, the shoreline over to the ship.
This game's version of the Dream Drop Distance mechanic that I can't remember the name of right now. Flow motion.
Yeah, well, there still is flow motion, but flow chain is an aspect of it, where you can snap to different locations.
Yeah.
You can also do that in the middle of combat as well. The thing that's interesting here, I don't think this is going to be as free as it seems, because in the footage, you can see there's a little, like, square that pops up, almost indicating, like, he's going to snap to that specific location. Like, I don't think you're just going to be able to point and click and just snap exactly to where you want to go. Whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's probably going to have certain segments where you can only attach to certain areas. It's kind of... You'll probably see that within with the enemies, so that way you can get an idea of how it works in the first place, and then they'll apply it to different sections of the level.
Right. Something interesting I thought of... So, in the Toy Box demo at E3 and at the presentation, there was Andy's room, and there was like a small section that loaded into Galaxy Toys. I'm wondering if that's only for the demo, and there's a little bit more in between, or if it seems like the main focus is going to be Galaxy Toys. But if there's going to be a greater section of gameplay in between, that wasn't in the demo.
I think
because that demo is apparently 1/3 of the entire world, so it leaves me wondering what else. Because obviously there's going to be a lot of the toy box or the toy world rather. There's probably going to be something on like the roof or something, but there's probably some other stuff outside as well, even if it's just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be too much. I think it's going to be like the Tron cycle thing that, for the most part, between getting from Andy's house to Galaxy Toys, there's going to be a bit of a section where you have to like fight enemies while traveling to where you have to go.
Right. The big thing.
Anyway, go on.
The big thing I find interesting in some of these videos, especially the Monsters Inc. one, which you'll see. I don't think I sent that one. I might have sent it, but the biggest interesting part of there is just how much there is in one single loaded section. Like, there's a huge portion of Monsters Inc. where it just keeps going, like, and it like loops around. So, and it didn't even show every like. There's definitely parts in that footage later that I'll show that we know is still there. Like the whole lineup where the doors are, the entire section with the what is it? Where they like put the doors on the walls. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. That's not in the leaked footage at all. So it's like there's a lot to these worlds. This Pirates one. Wait, go on.
Okay, well, first off, this Pirates world is fucking huge, and I love it.
Oh yeah,
Second, the difference between most of the worlds, at least from the ones that we know, and the Toy Story world, is that in canon, there's quite a bit of a drive between Andy's house and Galaxy Toys. So, just realistically, there's no way that they are going to load like it just the entire way.
No, I was just wondering if there was going to be an individual section in between, like maybe down the street,
Probably.
like maybe like a corner store or something, like
there might
be a gas station, like in Toy Story 1.
Yeah, but I think they're just going to expand Galaxy Toys
because
a lot more.
That seems to be the big section, which, like, they've gone out and said that is the primary focus of the toy box, which is fine, because it's a lot of original stuff. It's going to be, like, a similar deal to San Francisco. Like, there's going to be a lot of... I mean, obviously it's a city, so, you know, how unique can you be? But there's probably going to be a lot of, like, more unique set pieces. Like, because they're not...
It's also easier for San Francisco to have to be way more open than Toy Box, because it's closer to the Monsters Inc. world, where it's it's all one big area for the most part. It's not separate sections; it's all one city,
right?
With very specific sections of I don't know. There might be a room that you have to enter for specific story shit, but that's not including the whole. That's not talking about the world as a whole, if that makes sense.
Right. Generally, most of what I'm going to be pointing out is going to be world specific, but me bringing up the toy box is permanent to this, or not permanent, but it does have relevance because of how big this beginning section is. This seems to be a central hub almost for pirates, but you probably play in Port Royal. You can probably use the ship to go to different sections. There's been stuff on the island. The big island.
Well, that's it.
That's
an interesting thing, though, that we haven't seen Port Royal.
Yeah, well, in the... I won't show it here, but in the Final Battle trailer, they show a minigame section that is at Port Royal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, because remember in Kingdom Hearts 2, you use the ship to go to different locations. And
correct. So it's probably just going to be a way more expanded version of that. Where it's kind of like to bring up a different game, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. It's basically just going to be that.
Exactly, yeah.
But Kingdom Hearts.
Right. And it seems like the way they're handling it is different for every world. It seems like there's going to be 2 primary areas for Toy Box, for example, but the one is so massive. There's the central middle room of the Galaxy Toys, but the entire thing is explorable. Or in a portion like Monsters Inc., it seems like it is the entire factory or whatever, but it's not relegated to a single central room that branches out. It's an interconnected like path of stuff. Like you'll see in the footage, they travel like in and out, like weaving in and out on like a route through the not mansion. Why do you say mansion? But or like in Olympus,
there's the building or the facility.
Yeah, the facility. Instead of like a central room that branches off. So the way that it's being handled seems to be a little different.
Which I'm totally okay with.
So the main thing, this underwater combat, obviously, anytime combat and underwater is said in the same sentence, there's an immediate like scare there. It's
all right, but let's just get this out of the way right now. I think so far, just from looking at it, this is the best underwater combat in Kingdom Hearts,
right?
Just in general.
Oh, absolutely. Like this seems to absolutely be like it seems pretty snappy.
Well, it's all. Here's the thing: like other games have tried to like incorporate some kind of gimmick to it, aside from Chain of Memories, where the entire game was just shit, so it wasn't fun. But
right,
Kingdom Hearts 1, they tried to make you do like mermaid combat, where they just limit everything, just because you're a mermaid now, so you kind of have to play by their rules.
Right.
But in this, they're just like, let's just translate the entirety of the combat into underwater,
right,
and give you some extra abilities specific to that,
right,
which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So that's the immediate reason as to why it's just better.
Right. In this small section, there aren't a lot of enemies. It seems to be generally open. I'm wondering though, you're gonna hear me bring up critical mode and a lot of like the silly speedrunner stuff, but that also has prevalence to everything else. You'll see like this is fine for these like single encounter small enemy things, but at the end of that combo, he seems to be sitting in that final finisher for a long time, and you can dodge roll out of combos now to like make it a little more safe, which is good. Here's the thing: how does that work underwater though? Like underwater, if you're doing that long drawn out finisher where he spins his Keyblade for a while and does a lot of that damage, is he going to be stuck in that underwater? And if there's large encounter fights, like it seems like a lot of bigger bosses are staggered by finishers in particular, but like that giant fish, like what if he's not affected by that finisher? And what if you're doing something like that, you whiff and you're going to get hit? And you're going to see in some of this later footage that some of these big fights, they just constantly hit Sora. So single encounter fights don't seem that bad underwater. There's always that worry though. Like, yeah, this seems to be the best so far for underwater combat in Kingdom Hearts, but it's still underwater combat.
No. It is.
Yeah, it's definitely the best.
That comparison is still true, but there is an inherent worry because, again, like I said, it translates the combat from land to water,
right?
And that includes the risks of like everything that the Osaka Team combat has, like floaty, more lag-inducing combos and finishers, if you will. So it's going to be a little trickier,
right?
Just because you're now underwater. So it's going to be weird. I don't know if it's going to be that big of a deal, honestly. Just because of how they work, it's going to be not very fun, probably. But,
right.
In terms of like difficulty or whatever, just how it's designed, I feel like it'll be fine. Like they'll know it won't be too terrible. Like it won't be like Super Boss, Birth by Sleep bullshit, because that's never fun. And I know that's kind of a weak comparison, because comparing Super Boss to like a regular boss in a story, like no shit, Sherlock, it's gonna be easier. But
I don't even think in some situations, like I think in some situations that is a fair comparison. Look at Kingdom Hearts 2, like the way that the organization battles or Lingering Will, they function just the same as any other fight, except for they're just like naturally harder. It's not artificial difficulty like the unknown in Kingdom Hearts 1 or Birth by Sleep, where you just have to like swing invincible moves at them or you're never going to kill them. Like there's nothing different about like the Axel fight compared to the Lingering Will fight in regards to like overall mechanics to smaller bosses. So it is a legitimate worry. So like, yeah, super bosses, but like I guess a better comparison would be like large scale fights like the mechs in the toy box compared to these small things.
Yeah.
And I just mentioned getting hit out of finishers. In this footage, I just decided to look, and in the middle of that long drawn out finisher, a fish came in from off screen and hit Sora out of the finisher. So So, and you'll see it's at about the 4 minute and 10 second mark. It is after the finisher, but the enemy quickly came in from off screen and hit him out of it.
All right.
And,
So let me just say this right now. We're watching two different videos. You're watching a 22-minute one. I'm watching a 6-minute
Oh,
one.
yeah.
So those timestamps mean nothing to me.
okay, you know what? Let me send you this because there were two separate videos. This one of the Pirates World also had Twilight Town footage in it, so that's what I'm looking at. So you can look at it from that link I just sent you. So you'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, Sora was probably available to like defend himself there, but at the same time, the guy came in quickly from off screen, and it depending on how they handle critical mode, because I actually don't know anything about critical mode. We know it exists,
Okay.
and you unlock it after.
Oh, I didn't know it existed.
Okay, well, you unlock it after beating the main game. It's not unlocked right from the get.
Okay.
What is?
I think that's fine.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I would rather, because of the uncertainty of how critical mode works, I would rather have a better grasp of the game regularly first. Like, I forced my friend to play Kingdom Hearts 2 critical mode for his first playthrough, and he was better off because of it. Because he was forced to learn the game early instead of learning it midway through his second playthrough. I guess it's good here because of the uncertainty.
I'm fine with it because the way critical mode works is that it fundamentally changes how the player progresses in terms of like
right,
character building and such, and what kind of abilities you get. So, and just in general, almost everything, but not necessarily in terms of like structure and full-on difficulty, if that makes sense.
right.
Like, it's very different in how it handles things.
reason...
So I think having that unique sense of challenge later on would be a really good incentive for completing the game, and just a generally good reward.
The reason why I think Kingdom Hearts 2 in particular, like anyone who's never played Kingdom Hearts 2 before should always start with critical mode. The reason why is because there's hardly a point in Kingdom Hearts 2 normal mode where you're forced to play the game efficiently, if that makes sense.
Right.
So it can
you
fall...
can just spam X.
Exactly, yeah, through the entire game. So it will falter your experience. Like, I loved Kingdom Hearts 2 on my first playthrough, but it wasn't until critical mode when I had to beat my head against a wall to figure out how to play the game 40 hours in.
I don't think it will inherently falter it if you, at the very least, are still enjoying the game no matter what.
Well, and
I think if you play on critical mode, your experience will improve.
And that's the thing,
but I don't want to say it'll inherently falter it.
There are people, like, especially Kingdom Hearts 2 when it came out, it was criticized for having a basic combat system. And Kingdom Hearts 2 when it came out didn't have critical mode, it just had regular normal, like, and Proud. And Proud doesn't really do much aside from bosses take longer to kill. So the worry is there that people will be afraid early. I think there's less of that concern nowadays because I just think people have grown accustomed to the different combat, as well as I think people are just more interested in trying it out because they hear so many good things about it nowadays. Like, I mean, IGN has always, like, crapped on Kingdom Hearts, so, like, whatever. But they were one of the people at first to say, like, hey, Kingdom Hearts 2's combat system is very basic and it's not super hardy because, you weren't able to see what it truly could be. Because you don't have to see what it can truly be on anything other than critical mode because Sora is a sponge that just soaks damage.
Can I?
What? Yes, it can. It's in the basement.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
So, I think for the first playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 3, that'll be fine for not having critical, but if there is a final mix of the game, I think critical should be available from the get-go.
Yeah.
Because this is a new combat system, people are used to Kingdom Hearts, there's not going to be as much of a worry as Kingdom Hearts 2 was, where people won't like the combat system. Now, it doesn't seem like Kingdom Hearts 3 is that difficult on normal or Proud, but that's not exactly what I'm concerned.
Yeah. Well, frankly, I just want the game to be fun.
Yeah, and I have the most fun when I'm challenged, and I have to, like, there are turn off my brain kind of games, but I don't play Kingdom Hearts as a turn off my brain thing, so I want to get the most out of my experience possible. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it on Proud on my first playthrough, but I want to be able to continuously enjoy this instead of play it once or twice and then just kind of be done with it. What I will say is...
I'm just of the mindset where I'd rather have, like, if I were given the option, I'd rather have an easier and or shorter yet fun time than a game that's just completely and utterly frustrating me to no end.
Well, yeah.
So honestly, I just focused on the fun part first, and if the game is going to challenge me.
And for me...
And especially in this game's case, because there's going to be, like, a lot of extra shit that I'm not going to be used to. Like, Kingdom Hearts 2, I can play that game on Critical so easy, because I have grown up with that game.
Yeah.
That is, like, the game I have been used to. Like, I told you, whenever you asked me, like, if I had gotten to the Roxas fight on Critical Mode, and I said, yeah, I beat it on my first try, and you were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, see, I think that's, like, partially a difference between you and I. Not as a bad thing, but, like, I think you, like... you don't put challenge as one of your higher priorities, like, which isn't a bad thing.
I don't.
I find enjoyment from being challenged. So, I guess
That's fine.
Yeah, like, I mean, one of my favorite genres of games, fighting games, like, you're constantly challenged. And both of us like fighting games, so that's not fair. But generally...
Yeah, well, I have a different set of expectations depending on the game. With fighting games, I expect to be challenged.
That's true, yeah.
Like, that's kind of the whole point.
Yeah.
With other games, like, I change my expectations to, like, not necessarily closer to, like, to stray away from my expectations from fighting games, but it's certainly different, you know?
Right. Yeah, whoops. I guess, God, what even link was I on? So, yeah, one of my things for something like Kingdom Hearts, like, I enjoyed it the first time around because I was enthralled with the story and I, liked the general new combat system. Played something like that. On repeat playthroughs, I can never play Kingdom Hearts 2 on normal mode ever again because one of my favorite things about something like action games is being challenged to learn the game and be better at it. That's just something I personally enjoy from it. So, while if Kingdom Hearts 3 is super easy, for example, like if I can only play it on Proud mode, like something that doesn't directly change the game, I'm sure I will enjoy it. And I'm not saying Kingdom Hearts 3 has to be Kingdom Hearts 2. I want it to be something different, but there's something that Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 have that is one of those things that it's just like, I hope the reason I enjoy those games can be brought into like Kingdom Hearts 3, for example. Like, Sonic Mania isn't a hard game, but there's a reason I've played that game for over 100 hours, because it's one of those games that I can just play and not think about. But something like Kingdom Hearts 3, I specifically like the challenge. Like, so
and
is
it
a fair challenge?
Also be said, despite what I have said previously, if you have to play the game at a harder difficulty to get the full experience, that is a problem. Right,
that is true. Kingdom Hearts 2 is so weird because that is 100% the case with Kingdom Hearts 2. But the game is... the gameplay is well designed, but it's what the difficulty changes is the problem. That's the weird thing, because normally difficulty only adjusts like, oh, you die in so many hits, or bosses are sponges. But
yeah,
the inherent way that Kingdom Hearts 2 handles that makes it better only because you're forced to learn it. So,
yeah.
On one hand, that's a knock on Kingdom Hearts 2, but on the other hand, it's like, the gameplay's always good, you just don't have to do anything other than, you know what I mean? Like,
it's not a game-breaking issue.
Right.
Like, it's not something to go from, like, Kingdom Hearts 2, if I didn't have to put it on critical mode, is now a 4 out of 10 instead of a 7 out of 10. Like, it's not something stupid like that.
Yeah,
but it is something that you have to acknowledge as a problem.
I think it's a negative that turns into a positive because of the circumstance, when generally it's a bad thing. Like, if you need to turn something up to a higher difficulty to get the full experience, like, some people will, like, I haven't personally played God of War, but something I've heard is that, oh, you think the combat's too easy? Play it on, the higher difficulties. But in a case like that, it's just enemies take longer to kill. So
yeah,
it doesn't change the inherent flaws of the combat system, where in Kingdom Hearts 2's case, there aren't major flaws in the combat. It's more so a case of, like I said, like, you don't have to play it that way on the easier difficulty. So, I don't know, positive or negative, depending on which way you look at it. I personally look at the positive side of that, and that's why Kingdom Hearts 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, because the engaging combat.
I think it's special in Kingdom Hearts 2
exactly.
case because of how it approaches difficulty. Like, it's of course going to be a case-by-case basis, but I think just in general, that is something design-wise that is not particularly good. Just because if I can't... depending on how the player approaches the difficulty, they are not going to get the same experience as someone else would on higher difficulties, and I just don't think that's how it should be handled, especially when the player just wants to have an easier time with the game
and that's honestly, that is something I do like about the Kingdom Hearts 2 difficulty debacle, is because I've mentioned to you before, the skill floor remains intact while the skill ceiling is very high. My step cousin or whatever, the only game she's ever played is Kingdom Hearts, like the Kingdom Hearts series, and she loves it. Like, she hasn't played a game since Kingdom Hearts 2. Like, she was talking to me about this. But she loved Kingdom Hearts 2, and I can promise you she's not playing it to get the best action experience on critical mode.
She's playing it because it's fun.
Right, and she finds it fun. So I think because of our case of, like, enjoying the higher difficulties more, to us, the lower difficulties are bad. While to someone who only wants the fun experience, they have the lower difficulty as an option. So
that's not even like I'm sorry. I'm not even trying to say that that the lower difficulties are necessarily bad for just playing the game. It's hard to try and say what I'm thinking, but like in terms of the difficulty in Kingdom Hearts, at the very or just how do I put this? In Kingdom Hearts' case, I think it is okay because the difficulty adjustment is not arbitrary.
Right.
But I think the arbitrary change, like having to change the difficulty of a game to improve it, I think that's a problem.
Right. And is like, is that...
And Kingdom Hearts 2 doesn't have that problem.
And is that more of an issue because of the experience we're looking for, or is that more of a overall issue? Because...
I think that's an overall issue because now I'm not talking about Kingdom Hearts specifically.
Okay, yeah. Overall, that would be... I think in Kingdom Hearts' case, for some of the games, it's not a problem because of what you're looking for, so it does offer a different experience. I mean, like I said, I played normal mode and I loved it, but then I got more what I'm looking for on the higher difficulty. While someone like my cousin, who has only played Kingdom Hearts, probably plays on like beginner, but they got the experience they were looking for because they want the fun and flash of combat. My only concern with Kingdom Hearts 3 is that it's not going to appeal to what I'm looking for, which on one hand is a selfish way to look at it, but on the other hand, I'm the one paying $60 for the entertainment product. I'm buying it for myself more than anything. It's also like a legitimate criticism because it's the third game in the series. People have been waiting for this, if we're counting since Kingdom Hearts 2, for roughly like 13 years. Right. At this point. The people who are buying Kingdom Hearts 3 are more often than not new players. Right. Who are completely unfamiliar with Kingdom Hearts. There's going to be those people, and there's going to be plenty of people who will buy it because they want to get into Kingdom Hearts somehow. Right. But I think it's safe to say that if not a large majority, then a large portion of the players are going to be those who have stuck with it for a long time and have certain expectations with Kingdom Hearts. And here's the interesting thing, too. So I will not say I hate Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance, but they... almost in no way offer what I expected and wanted from them. But again, that's a me thing. I know you really like Birth by Sleep while also liking some of the other stuff. But something I heard a lot going into Birth by Sleep was that it was a contender for best game in the series, the combat's amazing, all this stuff. When, from my perspective, that's not what it offered. And a lot of those people are going into Kingdom Hearts 3. So you're gonna hear two sides. You're going to hear people that say the Kingdom Hearts 3 combat is amazing, it feels so satisfying, and there's also going to be the crowd of people that will say this game is good in a lot of ways, but just has these small things like floatiness. Like, I saw this one really good tweet, I'll have to pull it up, and it was like, it said something along the lines of like, floatiness isn't bad because it's not Kingdom Hearts 2, floatiness is bad because it's not as fun as being heavy combat. And I think that's, from what side of the argument you're on, that is a good way to look at it. Instead of saying, this is bad because it's not Kingdom Hearts 2, which there are some people that will say that. And it's less direct than that. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's weird because we don't have the game in our hands. We can look at gameplay and analyze all we want, But until we have it in our hands and are playing it, we won't be 100% certain. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Like the reason why I'm more okay with Birth by Sleep than you are is because I kept up with that game until launch. I have known about that game since its whole development back in like 2011.
Yeah.
So I know everything about it, and I knew it was going to be a very different game from 2. Even at that age where I was like, I just want to play Kingdom Hearts. I knew it was going to be different.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Dream Drop Distance, because I knew it was going to be some more similar to, at the time, Coded, Birth by Sleep, and all that stuff. So I just knew these things, so I had a different set of expectations. You jumped into everything. You didn't know what was going on necessarily.
Yeah.
You just wanted to play good Kingdom Hearts.
And
your like peak was 2, which is very different.
Here was the interesting thing
so
too.
you expected it to be the same.
Right. So
just...
here's what I did. I played Kingdom Hearts 1 on normal, and obviously Kingdom Hearts 1 isn't like too difficult, but it's basic. You know what I mean? Kingdom Hearts 2.
I think it's.
Go on.
I think in terms of like normal and proud modes that Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 offer, just to get this out of the way, I think Kingdom Hearts 1 is definitely more difficult.
Yes, absolutely. Kingdom Hearts 2, I played on normal. Like, I played normal first, which, as we've established, is very easy. I loved it to death. And instead of jumping right into Birth by Sleep, I played critical mode. And that's where everything shifted. Because I could have played Kingdom Hearts 2, and then I could have played Birth by Sleep, and I had heard nothing specific other than the game is amazing, it's good. From the outside, though. So, playing all of Kingdom Hearts 2 once, 100%ing it, and then playing it again, and then learning the intricacies of the Kingdom Hearts combat system. Because I can only assume, now I don't know because I don't live in that, reality, if I jumped right into Birth by Sleep, I probably would have loved it. Aside from maybe Terra, because she sucks as a character regardless. But
I like Terra.
I don't know.
Terra, okay, the reason why I like Terra, and it's very, it's small, or at least, it's a small portion of it, because the rest of his story, for the most part, is him being really fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's funny.
But he's not as bad as I don't think many people make it out to be, because a lot of it is him being, especially in the first world, he's being manipulated out of his complete control to do things, and in other times he just doesn't know. So he's being stupid, but at least I can look past it and be like, okay, at the very least I understand.
Yeah. And
then towards the end, I think is where Terra's character is actually really good, because he just starts to say, "Fuck all! I care about my friends more than anything else."
That's true.
And I especially like that in him when he fights Xehanort and Vanitas, especially when he loses his body and just his lingering will and just fights back. I'm sorry, that's one of the most badass sequences in Kingdom Hearts history to me.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
I'm realizing now just how off topic I got, which isn't a bad thing. I just realized yeah. I mean, we're talking
on Kingdom Hearts, so it's fine.
Oh no, it's fine. Yeah. So, let's see. Yeah.
And I think, okay, this is something we can sort of divert back into the main topic with this. Kingdom Hearts 3, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, is primarily trying to incorporate styles of gameplay into one while adding its own separate twists. So I think it'll be a lot easier for everyone to jump in and get accustomed to it.
Yeah.
Whether you're more of a fan of
it tries to accustom everything.
Yeah, and I think that's why I don't think it will be as much of a mixed bag as you say for that specific reason. It'll probably
I don't even think it'll be a mixed bag. I'm just concerned about
you were saying that it's not. Some people are saying it's not going to be good because it's too much. People are going to say it's amazing, and then because of the combat, and some people are going to say it's terrible for the same reason. I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be as black and white as that in this game's case.
Yeah, because of it, it incorporates a little bit of everything.
Yeah, so it's going to be just generally easier to get into it.
Right, and not to spin negative
criticisms with a lot of the major criticisms with the combat, I feel like, are going to get a lot more of the technical side, like the people who are heavily invested into games like Kingdom Hearts 2, where they know that game's combat inside out, and they are going to nitpick this, which is fine. But that's where a lot of the combat criticisms, aside from just general design issues that everyone is going to notice, that's where a lot of the criticisms.
and not to spin negativity into this, because my goal is not to nitpick everything about Kingdom Hearts 3, because I am genuinely excited for this game. But
you can be excited and nitpick.
Oh, those
aren't mutually exclusive things.
Right. So I just feel like I should clarify before it seems like I'm being overly negative about something that I've never played before. That I don't know how it's going to be until I play it. So the whole design thing is grand finale sense. They're throwing everything into Kingdom Hearts 3. They're throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. My hope is, will it stick? Because there's a lot. There's attraction flow. There's the link system. There's the limits, which are kind of weird because they're like reaction commands, but they're basically what limits were in Kingdom Hearts 2. There's the whole party member thing with individually controllable stuff. There's flow motion. There's shot locks. There's all this stuff. I hope it can meld together and stuff doesn't feel like jaded and awkward. So like, I'm happy. Like,
I think it's some. Go on.
So like a good example is flow motion. They heavily nerfed flow motion because that's all you need. That's one of the only things you needed to do in Dream Drop Distance, which is fine. And I'm not saying it should be a overpowered thing, but from a lot of what I've seen, people just tend to like avoid using it at all. And same thing with like attraction flow. Like attraction flow pops up and people skip it. So will there be all of these ideas, but they don't blend together well? And that's one of the uncertainty things. Like I don't want to have to skip every single like thing that pops up. Like if there's like attraction flow and like a form, I don't want to have to feel obligated to skip the attraction flow. I like that that's an option, but you know, I don't want to have to skip it just to get a better enjoyment out of this. So I don't know. I hope everything melds together well, like in Kingdom Hearts. I don't like always saying, oh, Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 2. But it really is like, it feels like everything works well there. Like even summons in Kingdom Hearts 2, which feel awkward at first, they work so unbelievably well. Like, everything works coherently together and under scrutiny. So I'm hoping that's also the case here, which it remains to be seen.
My personal impression is that it looks to be somewhat similar to, in that sense, like how Birth by Sleep is, where it's going to have a lot of these extra mechanics that some are going to work and some are you just going to use so often that becomes second nature, sort of like how a lot of Kingdom Hearts 2 combat is.
Right.
And some things are going to feel very awkward. Like I think that's just how it is with how much spectacle is going to be put into the combat.
Which is kind of unfortunate because that's not what I want to. That's not the reality I want to be. In a perfect world, I want this to be the biggest, baddest Kingdom Hearts game ever. I want to use everything. I want to learn the most out of every single mechanic. I want to learn how attraction flow works. I want to learn how like Rocket Ruckus and all this crazy stuff works. But that's all I'm worried about. Like what I like. Yeah, I've played a lot of Kingdom Hearts 2, but there's so much I don't know yet. I never use limits, but that's one of the things I'm figuring out now because of how good they are. Like in my journey to like beating Lingering Will, one of the things I discovered was just how good like what is it, like Comet or like the fireworks like limit for Donald is? Like what?
It's not Duck Flare. It's
Duck Flare. Yeah.
Is it Duck Flare?
Yeah, it's Duck Flare. Comet is
the one where it just explodes.
Comet is the explosion. Like, I found out, like, one of the things I did at one point was he was at, like, mid-health, like, not quite in his third phase. So I, like, locked him in with Duck Flare just to, like, push him into his third phase. Like, cool stuff like that. Like, I never used before. Like, there's so much that I'm still learning about it. And that's what I want to learn everything in Kingdom Hearts 3, as long as it's good, you know?
I think the problem with Kingdom Hearts 3 specifically is that a lot of, at least right now, this is initial impressions, a lot of the mechanics right now seem to be very face value. There's not much to the mechanics other than spectacle and damage.
Right, and they made limits, they made limits and stuff for reaction commands. And they did implement a few things to fix that. Like, I found the tweet where I said, and I was not the only one that said Keyblade should be swappable in the middle of combat, but my specific reasoning was, I don't like that that Keyblade transformations are reaction commands and not selectable, specifically limiting combat because of the nature of it. I wish you could have multiple keyblades that you could swap to have multiple forms, and that was one of the things they did, and it was such a good choice on Square's part. That alone fixes keyblade transformations for the most part. Like, I'd rather I just manually select it, but that alone will make it way better, because I don't want to have to use one keyblade, you know? Like,
and it also just helps in general because of how much more distinct keyblades are in this game now.
Right.
Like in Kingdom Hearts 2, it didn't really matter that much. It's like all it really attributed to was like some stat differences and some special abilities that would be added if you had a keyblade equipped. In this game, pretty much all of them are unique, and you want to at least try out every single one just to see what kind of abilities and weapons and such that they can become. Like that, there's legitimate incentive for that.
Right. Unfortunately, the same Sorry, go on.
I just think it's a very good mechanic to include, is to be able to switch between them.
Right.
And it'll make combat. It'll definitely
incentivize experimentation.
Yeah, and I think it'll definitely add a little more depth to the combat as a whole.
Right.
Which I think is what it needs in some sense.
Huh?
And
what's up? Oh, I think we're talking. Sorry about that.
And you know, looking over the Pirates world, one of the things that I'm like, one thing I'm kind of sad about, that I'm also kind of glad about, is aerial recovery, and all of these other things are back. They do not have nearly as much momentum as games like Kingdom Hearts 2. Like, aerial recovery just sort of stops you.
Yeah.
In this game, which is going to be really awkward, and I don't think it's actually going to be good for recovery, because it leaves you open for attacks when you're recovering.
Right. One of the things I did a lot in the Lingering Will fight before I could beat him without getting hit, if I got hit by the bike, I would intentionally recover in the direction he was, like, swinging.
Yeah, you would
or
recover
in the opposite
into
direction.
it because you got invincibility.
Right,
and you would carry your momentum
Right,
forward.
but here it's
like
right in place. Also, I unfortunately, as soon as combat starts, obviously this is like a mid-size, like, bigger enemy, but around like the 7-minute 30-second mark, he starts combat, doesn't even get to his finisher, and he is immediately hit out of it. So I don't know if that's going to be another one of those, like, just dodge roll out of it sort of things, because in this case, he is on land. This is like online combat. But
well, he's also in the air, so it's going to be.
Well, you do have air slide. So
you have air slide.
You probably can air slide out of combat.
Okay.
And you can guard. You can guard in midair, and you can guard out of combat. So that's one of the things.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, same thing as 0.2. So also,
I never played 0.2.
Oh, you didn't play 0.2? Okay. Well, some of the issues.
No, I never got 2.8.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but yeah. So he gets hit out of it. Starts combat again. The camera starts to get caught on the tree, because obviously it's going to get caught on the tree, because why would cameras work properly in a 3D action game anymore? And he starts combat. Again, they move quickly, and he's not able to get to his finisher because they move out of the way. Starts combat again, gets hit out of it again.
You want to know something that I'm sort of noticing right now, and he is not using very much magic at all.
Yeah.
So I think they really want you to incorporate magic, because like the magic has way more momentum than we are giving it credit.
Yeah.
And that could lead to a lot more depth to combos, and who knows, maybe they could have some invincibility. So
my one thing, none of these guys are staggering at all. Not even on finishers. I recently.
Okay, yeah,
I was playing.
I am not a fan of, just inherently.
I was playing level 1 critical in Kingdom Hearts 2, and it's in the cave of Land of Dragons, but they generally start attacking when you do, but they stagger at a finisher and they enter a stun state. None of these guys are doing that at all. So
yeah.
Well, it seems like they get kind of stagger a little bit, but it doesn't really matter that much. Like,
yeah. And that's just a general complaint. Like, I hate that shit in any game, not just Kingdom Hearts.
Right,
so.
And there's a point when he's starting the combo, the guy literally just flies away, and he's not even able to finish. And maybe there's a worry, like, this is just an idea. I haven't seen this actually, like, applicable, But what if you can only dodge roll cancel if you hit the move?
Huh.
That's something I'm kind of scared of too. Because
a little bit.
Right, because on paper it sounds like a good idea of you shouldn't get to randomly flail around and be safe. But because of the nature of these combos, how enemies will just go out of your combos, that's an issue in 0.2. Do you know what critical mode does in 0.2?
No, but go ahead.
Your magic bar is cut in half, which I don't like because of how magic focused Aqua is. And they also mess with Keyblade combat. Want to know what they do? They remove Combo Master. That alone messes with the combat a lot. Because if you whiff it all, and Aqua's combos are pretty floaty and not to the level of Birth by Sleep, like, you know, regular Birth by Sleep, but there's been a couple instances where I miss a move and I can't do anything. I can't get to my finisher. You know? It wasn't a problem in the number titles because of the snappy combat. Like, you can miss and not be too bad, but you know, if you're caught in that, you're not able to get to your more invincible, like, stronger finishers because you just miss one of your moves. Like,
yeah.
There's a reason why I don't remember what it's called, but there's an ability in Kingdom Hearts 2 where, like, Sora, like, flails his Keyblade side to side, and no one leaves that on because the hits always whiff, the enemies break out of your combo, and you get punished for it. And that's kind of, like, the big picture problem.
Slapshot, I think, is what it's called.
What's up? What is it called?
I think it's called Slapshot.
No, Slapshot is like the upward slash. That's a good ability.
I know what you're talking about, though.
Whatever it's called, it's that.
Where he,
like,
twirls around and just, like...
Yeah, but, like, it's a big picture problem, like, for the combat. So...
Yeah, because he's stuck in a big idle animation. He can't cancel out.
And you mentioned magic, which is a good point, but at the same time, I shouldn't have to be forced to use magic